Surround, hold back, hold back.
Hey guys, it's Holly. Welcome back to my channel. So I just filmed a super long Q&A video while I was putting this makeup on, so I could film this video. And then by the time I was done filming that, I was so tired. I'm like, I don't even have the energy to film the other video, but I'm gonna do it. I apologize that I didn't pull out a lot of the fragrances that I'm gonna talk about, but I have smelled them all. I don't need to have the bottle in hand to tell you what they smell like. So I was requested a fragrance video covering indie fall fragrances, and that's a great topic. Thank you so much. It's one of my favorite times of the year for indie perfumes because all of the brands seem to really love the concept of fall and Halloween, and so they put out some of their best scents in August, September, and October. And so it's a really good time to pick up some indie fragrances if you're not familiar with them or if you're unsure about trying a new brand. Most of these fragrances are only available for purchase in oil fragrance form. There are a few brands that do EDP alcohol fragrances, and I'll mention those ones when I come to them. A lot of them I recommend in oil, but there are a few that I would personally choose in alcohol, and I'll also tell you which ones those are as well. And again, there's a ton of indie brands, and they all kind of go kaboom with new releases for fall and Halloween. So I'm only going to talk about some of my personal favorite houses and their best releases in my opinion. So the first one is a brand called Alchemic Muse. They don't get as much love on the fragrance circle as some of the other indie brands do, and I'm not really sure why, because they're quite affordable fragrances and they're also very well done. So I'm not sure why they don't get as much love, but I would love for you to try them because they're really good. So for Alchemic Muse, they do a fall collection and they do a Halloween collection. In my opinion, the Halloween collection fragrances are better. So there's several of those that I suggest, but there's a few from the fall collection that are also really good. So from Alchemic Muse Halloween collection, the first fragrance I suggest is called Bloodlust. So I do have that in the sample format. The description for this scent is a penetrating sanguine scent flowing with sensuality, dragon's blood resin, heady incense, and iron distilled with patchouli, saturated with blood orange, and thickened with amber and myrrh. So it's just a very incensey, slightly it's almost got a tang to it, but it's rich. It's still full-bodied. It feels like if you have a really full-bodied red wine that's quite dry as opposed to sweet. That's really the vibe here. This is a good one if you don't like gourmand fragrances but you want to smell like fall or autumn, because it doesn't have any gourmand notes, but it does still feel very autumnish, cozy sweater type of fragrance. This is from the Alchemic Muse Halloween collection, and that's Bloodlust. Another thing I want to mention is that I cannot guarantee that all of these fragrances will be in stock. Indie brands tend to rotate their catalogs based on what the availability of raw ingredients are. So not necessarily everything that I'm going to mention might be available. The only one on this list that has already put out their fall release list is House of Gloy. So everything I'm telling you from House of Gloy, I know will be available. From Alchemic Muse, the second one that I have is Bonfire, and I also have a sample of this one. It is described as evocative of the vibrant colors of autumn. This unique scent is sure to engage the senses. inviting and familiar blend of crisp fall air, mulled cider, burning maple leaves, and a crackling bonfire. So to me, this one is a woody apple kind of fragrance. It's got that burning wood smoke and apple. Again, it might be a little bit different on the skin, but I'm not going to put all of them on my skin. But you'll notice there's a lot of similar themes that repeat itself through these fragrances, because that's kind of my personal favorite. So this sort of wood fire scent is one of those themes. But Bonfire is unique for having that like apple, sort of apple cinnamon scent to it. So I definitely recommend that. And then is called Countryside. And it is described as, scratch the surface of this beautiful scent and you'll find many layers leading to a shadowy center. A crisp veneer of sweet, earthy autumn leaves with top notes of green fig, bergamot, golden hay, and dried flowers masks a dark heart of musky clover, caramelized benzoin, beeswax, and black vanilla absolute. At the center is a corrupted foundation of bitter almond tonka bead, gaiac wood, and sandalwood, waiting to be revealed for all its sensual and unforgettable experience. So that one is much more heavy, rich, incensey. It's got the same sort of like sexy resinous smokiness as Bloodlust does, but it's like it takes it up. It's almost like it's almost like death by perfume, if that makes sense. And then from the Alchemic Muse fall collection, there are two fragrances. The first one is called Deadwood, and this is a hay fragrance. So if you like a hay note, this is going to be chef's kiss up your alley. It's described as wild bergamot, clover, honey, and a light dusting of spice, leading to a heart of warm amber and barley grass, grounded in a rich base of black vanilla, musk, teak, and worn brown leather. It's super leathery, sweet with honey, and it's got this massive hay note that just won't stop. It's a really pretty honey and hay fragrance. And then the last one I have from Alchemic Muse is called Nevermore. This one is going to be for those of you who like more of earthy, like earthy petrichor type of fragrances. This one's a really nice one. Described as dark and beguiling, dusty casks of warm blackberry wine laden with wild herbs and acrid tea leaves amid whispers of warm skin musk, crackling firewood, and a somber touch of freshly dug earth. So it definitely has that earthiness. Alchemic Muse, I think, is very underrated. She has a website and an Etsy shop for all of these brands. I will link where you can buy them down below, but please check out Alchemic Muse. My nose is itching because I put makeup on my face. Next is Cocoa Pink. This brand has kind of been popping off lately in the fragrance groups that I'm in. And so I'm really happy to see them getting love. And so these are some of the ones that I recommend. Now, Cocoa Pink switches their available fragrance list twice a year. So there's a fall and winter availability, and there's a spring and summer availability. I don't know which list is on at the time you see this video, but once they swap to their fall winter catalog, I believe all of these fragrances I'm going to talk about should still be available. I haven't seen anything about any of them being discontinued. So the first one is called A Fear of Spiders, or Arachnophobia, and it is described as dragon's blood resin, the memorable scent of fine pipe tobacco, chopped bundles of firewood, fragrant sprigs of wormwood, and bright scarlet apples. So you will notice that apple and wood smoke kind of tend to be recurring themes. This one I think is really gorgeous because it does have that wormwood note, so it's sort of unique and it is a bit creepy, like a bit creepy crawly. The next one is Fear of Ghosts or Phantasmophobia. And this is glowing marshmallow orbs and smoky vanilla spectral mists swirled aimlessly around an old bonfire in the crisp October night air. Fresh vanilla puffed marshmallows, toasted marshmallows, hints of bonfire smoke among scattered sharp grains of white rice to ward unwelcome spirits away. So Fear of Ghosts I own. There's another fragrance I'm going to talk about that's similar to this, and when I get to that fragrance I'm going to describe the pros and cons of both, but I really like Fear of Ghosts. However, I have it in the oil format, and Cocoa Pink is a brand that offers alcohol-based perfumes. I strongly recommend you choose the alcohol version when you order, because there is something about the oil base or the carrier oil that they use that to me is not pleasant. Gives the fragrances just a little bit of a weird vibe. I don't know what it is that is in like their base that they use, but if you choose the alcohol versions, it doesn't have that, and the fragrances smell so much better on your skin. They all smell the same in the bottle, but on your skin is where you'll notice the difference. So I mostly use the few Cocoa Pink scents that I accidentally got in oil. I use them as hair oils because I really don't like the way that it smells on my skin. The next one is another one that I own, and I don't have this sample again. I don't have it anyway. And it's called Autumn in Vermont. And this one and the final one from Cocoa Pink, these two were in their Stranger Things collection, but they are in the permanent catalog. So Autumn in Vermont is gorgeous red maple leaves, freshly harvested orchard apples, light hints of bakery cinnamon, golden amber tempered by sweet hints of sweet agarwood and Indian sandalwood. So Autumn in Vermont is perfect for someone who wants a quintessential fall smell. Like if you want to put on your fragrance and smell like fall, smell like autumn, that's going to be the one you want to go for. It's Autumn in Vermont from Cocoa Pink, because nothing else comes close in my opinion. That is like the scent of how fall smells. And the last one I actually have a sample of, and this is carried in oil, but it's called November, and it says is the unmistakable scent in the air the moment winter arrives. Pale snowflakes, bitter cold air, dry vanilla, snow-dusted trees, agarwood, baked apple pie, and smoking swirls of crackling tobacco. There's again, apple is always super prominent to my nose. It's one of those notes that's hard to conceal, so it's really easy to tell when there's apple. So this is another really nice appley, woody scent, quite similar to Bonfire, like I mentioned from Alchemic Muse. But I think if you were to compare the two, Bonfire is more woody and November is more apple scented. And it is an oil, so it has that weird undertone. I suggest if you buy from Cocoa Pink, make sure you choose, when you are ordering, choose in their drop down menu that you want your fragrances in alcohol. So the next is from one of my favorite houses. Of course, I've talked about them a ton on my channel. It's House of Gloy, and they go all out for fall every year. So they have some great fragrances for fall. And then they also have the Halloween release that has a lot of candy or sweet gourmand fragrances. So some of these scents I believe may be released with the gourmand fragrance, like the candy jar is what they call it. And there may be candy jar fragrances that get released that I'm not talking about here. And that's basically just because they're pretty linear. They're all just really one like flat sort of fragrance. There's a blood orange marshmallow. There's a candy corn fragrance, I think. And they're all just quite linear. So basically you could just pick a fragrance that appeals to you. Like if you love the smell of blood orange, like you just get it. It's going to be a sweet blood orange fragrance. It doesn't really need a whole lot of explanation. But from House of Gloy, these can be ordered as eau de parfums as well. They have the oil versions and they have the eau de parfum. If you want just to sample, or if you just want a small addition to your collection that you're not going to wear often, go for the oils. They smell great in oil. They're totally fine. If it's something that you feel like you're going to wear fairly often, then do the EDPs, because you get 30 mil for $30. It's a super great deal. The first one is called Ghost Puffs, and it's described as orbs of buttery popcorn and marshmallow goo presented on a wooden stick. So Ghost Puffs sometimes is released with the fall release, and sometimes it's released in the Halloween release. But I did see it on their fall release list for this year, so I know it's coming. Ghost Puffs and Fear of Ghosts from Alchemic Muse smell quite similar. If you want a sweet marshmallow, buttery marshmallow scent, go for Ghost Puffs. If you want something that's a little bit more nuanced with more layers, try Fear of Ghosts from Cocoa Pink. The core of them is quite similar with that sweet buttery marshmallow fragrance, but Ghost Puffs is more linear and sweet, whereas Fear of Ghosts or Phantasmophobia is more nuanced. Then the next from House of Gloy is Cozy Sweater, and this is a perennial favorite. This one returns year after year. If you don't see it in the fall, it could be because it's a winter or like an early winter release, so I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's called Cozy Sweater, and it's pale skin musk, faded perfume, Egyptian amber, softly burning nag champa incense, and fine aged vanilla. Musk, really good. And Cozy Sweater is exactly that. It's a very cozy, warm scent to where it's not too heavy. It's not going to choke you out or choke anyone out around you. It's comfortable and warm, just like a cozy sweater. The next one is Hex, and I don't know if I saw this on their list. I thought I did, but now I can't find the list and I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was on their list, so I'm gonna offer it to you anyway. But it's called Hex, H-E-X, and is described as you've been bewitched, brackish amber, aged vanilla bean, and 3 dark fruits, veiled in darkness and otherworldly secrecy. And it's just like a dark, rich, sexy vanilla sort of scent. Not too complex, but really nice for the fall. Then another apple fragrance. This one, for me, is probably the best of the ones that I've mentioned so far, but it's also the most linear of them. It's called Old Cider House, and is described as old oak, drying sweet hay fields, crushed apple pulp, and vanilla musks. It's really just a sweet appley sort of scent. The hay does lend a sort of earthy grassiness to it, but it's not as complex as November or as soft as Bonfire. It's more about the apple than Bonfire for sure. And then my favorite from their pumpkin offerings, they offer quite a few pumpkin fragrances every year. My personal favorite is called Pumpkin Queen. I have the hand lotion here, right here with me. It's so good. This is described as gentle hay pillows, pumpkin, ripe peaches dusted with clove and nutmeg, dried summer herbs, and lastly, a lovely crown of amber. So this is obviously not going to be quite the same as the fragrance with the body cream, but to me, you get nutmeg. So the nutmeg is gorgeous. You get a little bit of peach and you get a lot of the hay. It's almost like a cobbler type of peach pumpkin scent. But that clove and nutmeg, it just makes it delicious. It's practically edible. It's not a gourmand, but it feels like it could be edible. It's really good. So Pumpkin Queen is my personal favorite, but it doesn't have a strong pumpkin note. So if you want something with a strong pumpkin note, wait for their Halloween like pumpkin offerings and see if you can see what's in that. Another one that is much more gourmand foodie is called Red Rhone. This one and the next one I actually have not personally smelled, but they are always referred to as favorites in the indie fragrance groups and communities that I'm in. So I'm going to suggest them to you so that you can check them out. You can buy samples of all of these scents from all of these brands. You don't have to commit to full bottles. So if you are intrigued, get a sample because these ones are definite favorites. Red Rhone is described as fresh strawberry flecked porridge with maple syrup and adulterated with a splash of white cognac. So fruity, soft, sweet, and boozy. And then the final one from House of Gloy is called Spider Silk. Again, this one I have not tried personally, but is often referenced as a favorite from their fall collection. So definitely check it out if it sounds interesting to you. That's described as crystalline webs of amber, oak moss, torchwood, copaiba resin, and a touch of withered violet leaf. So not quite the same as arachnophobia or fear of spiders. That one had the wormwood and mint. The Spider Silk has the violet and mint, and also a little bit of resins and musks. Hey you guys, it's editing Holly. I'm so sorry. So one fragrance from House of Gloy that I did not talk about in this video because I had not seen it on their fall preview list, and it's gone out of stock. Like it's been discontinued in the past and then was brought back into the catalog, and so I wasn't sure if it was going to be available. It is called the Horseman. The Horseman, just one of them. If you haven't seen me mention this in indie fragrance videos in the past, I think I've talked about it in almost every indie fragrance video that I've done. It's a 110% recommend. I saw that they're releasing it in EDP this year. I don't know if they did that in the past, but I will be purchasing it in EDP because I already have 2 bottles of oil. I stocked up when I was afraid it was going to be permanently discontinued. So I'm going to get the EDP. I'm going to leave the scent description down below, but the trick with this fragrance is that it makes you smell like money, honey. And when you wear it, if you layer it or just wear it on its own, you're going to get that compliment. People going to be talking you up right and left. They're going to be giving you freebies at Starbucks. They're going to be offering you services at Neiman's. They're going to treat you like a VIP at Valet. You're going to get all the good stuff. So it's like a magic potion. Take my word for it. At least buy a sample. You can't go wrong. Okay? Check it out down below and follow the link to their website to place your fall fragrance orders. The next brand I don't love recommending. Not because there's anything wrong with the products, but because the owner and operator of this brand is a bit unreliable. And again, I understand that people have their lives and they can't always be about business. But if you have a small business, I do think that you have a commitment to your customers to be able to fulfill orders in a timely fashion. So I hesitate to recommend this, but it is one of my absolute favorite fall fragrances, and I think I would be remiss leaving it out of this list. However, caveat, this brand is currently undergoing some problems because of the owner and the creator's health issues. So I don't know for sure if this fragrance will even be available, but if it is, you need to get it. So the brand is Mona Lisa. They release very sporadically. The best way to find out when a release will be and to be ready to buy at that time, because things sell out like that, is to sign up for their newsletter. I'll put the link to the perfume website for them as well, but it's not easy to get something. But I have to recommend this because it's so good. The fragrance is called Haunted Home, and the description goes, haunt your halls with this bewitching blend of woods, herbs, resins, and a touch of spice. Even an Adams would be envious of this brew. Reminiscent of the feeling and aroma of Muna's favorite ride in the whole world, the Haunted Mansion. If you have been, I think I've mentioned this in videos before, if you have been to Disneyland, while the Haunted Mansion is the haunted holiday where it's done up like the Nightmare Before Christmas, there's a scene in the ballroom where they're piping a gingerbread smell through, and this is exactly that scent. It's spicy, it's warm, it's rich, it's a little bit like spooky. It's so good. I had it in hair mist. I had a perfume oil. You can buy these fragrances in eau de parfum fragrance concentration. I don't know if they will be released that way. If they are, I really want to get the EDP of Haunted Home because it's my hands down probably my favorite fall fragrance from any brand. From Solstice Scents, they also do quite a few fall fragrances. Recommend you their Foxcroft Fairgrounds collection. The whole thing is great, but some of the standouts are the Foxcroft Fairgrounds, which is pink cotton candy, frosty vanilla cream soda, saltwater taffy, funnel cakes, confectioner sugar, outdoor autumn air, and dirt, leaves, and moss laced with wood smoke. It's amazing. Chef's kiss. Then we have Owl Creek Ale Works, which is unique. Another one super unique and beautiful for winter, or I'm sorry, beautiful for autumn. Owl Creek Ale Works opens with a combination of toasted hazelnut, toffee, and caramely dates when first applied. Toasted coconut, vanilla ice cream, and a bit of gooey cake come forward after a few minutes to meld with hazelnut and toffee notes. Sweet malt with a touch of spice and sugared pumpkin weaves in and out through the aforementioned notes to represent the sugared pumpkin cream stout. The stout portion of this fragrance does not smell like actual beer or alcohol, but rather the sweet malt and raw ingredients that go together prior to fermentation. This gourmand blend is a very autumnal scent representing the color brown. Dark stout, sticky toffee sauce, toasted hazelnut and coconut, thick malt, and brown cake studded with dates. It's really good, you guys. It's really good. Then we have Gibbons Boarding School. This chair is making me so uncomfortable. Oh my God. This video is gonna be so long. Gibbons Boarding School is 32 notes were selected to evoke the atmosphere of the sprawling brick school. Gibbons is composed of a variety of woods, leathers, smoke notes, light spices, ambers, and vanillas, with tobacco, dirt, leaves, black musk, frankincense, moss, and a hint of apple. There's the apple again. And then another one of my favorites is Smokewood Apiary. This fragrance is very smoky, woody, honeyed amber blend that has a similar character to our Concha fragrance due to the sweet, smoky, woody, spice, and amber notes used in both fragrances. It is best enjoyed on a cold day where smoky fragrances shine best. The cold air carries the smoke notes around you in a way that is not possible in mild climates. Smokewood Apiary is a unisex fragrance. So all of Solstice Scents fragrances come in either EDP or oil format, and some of them come in both. When you go to their website and you click on their master scent list, it will tell you next to each fragrance what formats it's available in, so you don't have to look at each one or like look at each group to see if the fragrance that you want is available in that form. And they do sell samples of the EDP sizes, which the only other brand that does is Cocoa Pink. All of the rest sell samples of oil fragrances, except for Mona Lisa, who doesn't sell samples at all. But hers are really good, so you don't. I think you could blind buy safely from her if you can get a hold of a fragrance. And then last but not least is A Strange South, and these fragrances I didn't even realize were fall exclusive fragrances. I did try one of them in one of my Strange South videos, which I'll put up here so you can see my reaction to it. But these are the ones that from their specific fall catalog I think are the best. But the Strange South is a whole brand built on spooky sort of themes, so like most of their fragrances are definitely like autumn weather appropriate. So the first one is the Emperor of Ice Cream, and this was the one I did get to try, and it was amazing. It's really good. It's described as limp flowers on a windowsill, strawberry ice cream, tobacco leaves, tonka, and a dribble of young blood. I don't remember it having much of like a tang to it. I don't recall it having too much of like that like weirdness, but I do remember it being really beautiful. And then the next one is called God of the Lost. This is described as birch, mud, vegan honey, pelting rain, and the hulking faceless creature from trailing your scent. So this also, if you are a petrichor fan, if you love petrichor scents, this is going to be a great one for you because it has a heavy petrichor note and it's very earthy. And then the last one for this video and also for the Strange South is called Tall Paul. It's described as splintered wood, chopped paint, the melange of sweets, and a musk from a bewildered crowd, and the memory of smoke. So again, a lot of themes you'll see repeating in these indie fragrance releases for fall. Apples, apple cider, wood smoke, burning like chimney smoke, nighttime petrichor, candy, sweets. A lot of gourmands are released during the fall from indie brands. And I said apple already. Apple is everywhere. Pumpkin, you'll see a lot of pumpkin as well. These are just my personal favorites from my favorite indie brands. They are not at all a comprehensive list of releases, not even from these brands. So if you like an indie brand and you want to check out their seasonal releases for fall, sign up for the brand's newsletters. 100% of the time they will tell you when fall releases are happening, and most of the time they will tell you what scents are included in that release so that you can plan ahead and know what you want to pick up. Occasionally they will offer coupons or specials if you are a newsletter subscriber, but not always and not with every brand. There's a lot of great brands that I mentioned that either don't do large fall releases or don't really do any sort of change to their general catalog much throughout the year at all. So I didn't include some of those. Alchemia is one that I know does fall releases, but they don't have like a big chunk of their catalog that is included in a fall release. Some other of my favorite brands like Darling Clandestine and Sugar and Spite is doing a fall release as well, but I don't have any information about them, and their brand was out of commission for some time due to COVID, so I'm not even sure what, you know, from the past may be re-released, but that's another good one to check out. But yeah, there's fall is like a boom time for indie fragrances, so definitely if you are interested in getting into indies, it's the perfect time of year to do so, because fall and winter are, in my opinion, the best time of year for indie fragrance releases. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and I hope that if there was anything that you heard that interests you, that you're able to get your hands on it this fall. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and if you reached the end of this video, thank you so much for your time. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
And you should know